Hey everyone, welcome to the Guiding You Forward podcast presented by Mountain America Credit Union. I'm Kristalina Brown, and with us today we have David Glad. Hi, David.
Hi, Kristalina.
Times right now are so uncertain. I don't know if we can say uncertain enough with what's going on with COVID-19 and everything in our world. Now, David, you've told me before that we've really seen scams on the rise because of our pandemic. Can you expand on that for us?
One of the very common ones is we're seeing a lot of people getting phishing emails that have some sort of CDC alerts. These scams are coming in a email and will oftentimes have a link to a map that'll say something like there's cases of the virus reported in your area. Or they may have an attachment on there with some type of health advice, things that you can do to protect yourself. Now, honestly, most people would be interested in knowing that information. I know I would.
Absolutely.
But some of these scams may even get even more personal. They may mention your specific state, your town, or even a school that's around you. So the scammers will do anything to try and grab your information. They try and give you this incentive to be able to click the link or to download the attachments that are on there. Unfortunately, oftentimes these attachments contain malware. It can steal your usernames or passwords to your online resources. One of the first things I often encourage people to do is when they see something is first ask themselves the question, does this seem too good to be true? Because if it does, it probably is. But what they're trying to do is give you some sort of urgency, some reason to make you click on these things. First of all, look at the sender's email address. Does it match the website that you expect it to come from? And if it doesn't, it's most likely a scam. The next thing I encourage them to do is really read the email closely. Ask the question, does the email address you by name, or is it some sort of generic term? Are there spellings or grammatical errors that may be contained in the body of the email? If you see any of these clues, it's probably some kind of a scam. If the email or other solicitation tells you to call a phone number, instead of calling the phone number that they provide, which will probably be answered by one of the scammers, look at the back of your credit card or look up the business's phone number online so that you can be confident that you're contacting the business directly.
Oh, that's great advice. I will say, I did have a time, full disclosure, where I received a phishing email and I for sure clicked the link. It asked me to put in my info. I filled out my name, my phone number, did it all. And good grief, thankfully, the company I was working for at the time had a great recovery system. But I thought it was from my boss because, they had his picture on there and all of that. And, I was actually chatting with him later that day and I said, hey, did you get the information you requested? And he was like, what information that I requested? I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. I just gave out all my info. Dang it. So
I'm really glad.
I've been fallen victim to this before.
Yeah. There isn't shame involved in that. It's happened to a lot of us. I often use the example that I tell people that it's like you going up into a boxing ring against Mike Tyson. I mean, these scammers are really, really good. And I'll tell another thing too, is that the sooner you can recognize that and talk to somebody about it, the more likely we are to be able to recover and the more likely you are to be able to get yourself right from these things that these scammers have done to you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're obviously wanting to look at that email address, making sure we're paying attention to attachments or links that come in those emails. Anything else regarding phishing that we need to be aware of?
Well, I'll mention one thing that's really similar to that, and that's something that's called smishing. So another thing that we're seeing that's very common, is not only, phishing is sending in an email, but smishing is sending it in a text message. So they're really doing very similar types of scams with just another avenue that it comes from. So some of the ones that we're seeing recently is we're seeing text messages that come from some sort of government body or financial institution. One of the really common ones we're seeing is that they're saying the government stimulus money that you're owed may be delayed if you don't click this link and provide us some information. So these scammers, they're really trying to create a sense of urgency in your mind, letting you know you have to act now because, well, we all want our stimulus money. Yes. But once you click that link, you think that you're validating your information so that your stimulus money won't be delayed. So you may not think it's unusual for them to ask you for your bank account number, your birthday, your social security number, or even your online banking information. But I can tell you right now, Kristalina, a legitimate government organization or financial institution will never ask for information like that through an email or a text.
Let's review what you can do to prevent fraud. First, be alert. Be on the lookout for fraud in all its forms.
It could come in an email, social media post or direct message, a phone call, or a text. Next, before you click on any links or open any attachments, do the following. Check the email address of the sender. It may look familiar if you glance at it quickly, but if you look closer, you may see something that just isn't right. Hover over the links to see the full address. Malicious links will often send you elsewhere. Next, confirm the identity of the sender via an alternative source. For example, verify the company's phone number on their website before calling the number provided in the suspicious email. Next, look for poor grammar and spelling in emails, text, and social media posts or messages. If poor grammar's there, chances are it's a fraudster and not a legitimate company. Look out for urgent language, fake logos, and little or no contact information. Those are all warning signs. Again, a legitimate company will never ask you for your username and password. And finally, Mountain America Credit Union will never ask you for your login ID, password, or PIN. Make sure that you're following these steps. We can all prevent fraud together. Stay safe and healthy, everyone.